Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. There's Porter. What we're looking at is a 4-wire range outlet for your typical kitchen range or oven or stove, whatever you want to call it. So if you have a new house, a newly wired house, you should have one of these in there. Now, some of the older houses have just 3. So what we're looking at, one's the neutral, which that long slot is the neutral. The 2 side ones are your lines. It could be your red and your black. And that one look like a little horseshoe type thing, that's your ground. So I'm going to show you how to wire a cord that go in your range that will suit this receptacle. Let's go check it out. So here we have a range plug. See how you got this slot here is where my thumb's at. This will be your neutral. This one would be your live line. This one would be other live line. And that little round looking one would be your ground. And it has these wires, which is red, black, white, green. Red and black are your lines. The green is your ground and the white is your neutral. So we're gonna get set up over here and we're gonna try to install it on the back of this range right here. See if I can get myself in a good position where I can show you guys how it's done. This doesn't take too long. It takes a little patience, pretty much. I'm gonna try to adjust this so you guys can see what I'm doing. Maybe right there. Okay, I think I guess that'll do it. I'll give you enough space so you can see what I'm doing right about. I guess that's good enough. That kind of get the angle where I'm gonna be at right there. And we're gonna get started in a second and go from there. Let me see if I can straighten this camera up so it's not so crooked too. How about that? I'll move that over like that and make it straighter. How's that? That's better. All right, guys. We'll take off the cover. Once I take the cover off, we'll see what we got behind there and go from there. You have the proper tools. Tools that can take this off. So take off this. Take off the bottom one. If you take off the top one, you're still gonna have that little lip there. So take off the bottom one, and the whole thing comes off as a unit. It does come off as a unit. Okay. Still look like it got a little bent it up down there, but we could bend that back into place if need to be. I'm not too sure what happened with that. Let's tighten that up. Tighten that up. Okay. Push this in. It should be. I don't know why that's out. They must have dropped this when they delivered it or something. That's just cosmetic though. It's nothing major. First thing I'm gonna do is try to put this little, I call it a strain relief. It has a particular name for it. Connector, some people call it. Let's see if we can get this bad boy in there. Oh, you gotta squeeze it to get that in there. So I gotta bend this up to get it in and bend it back down. Is that what this thing? Only way to get that in there. You want to force it. You gotta remember the sharp edges too, so you don't want to. Let's see what we got going on here. Okay, just bend this back down and it should all fit in. I'm probably gonna keep it this way. Should I do it the other way? Let's see how we're looking at the bottom. Just gonna turn it. As I can fit the wire in there, should be good. The purpose of this is to keep the wire from pulling, so you can't just pull the wire out completely. So now what we're gonna do is, we're gonna slide this up through these little holes. Sometimes it's tough, so it's gonna take your time. Remember, you're not in a race. So if you're in a race, you're in the wrong business. You know, you're not trying to outdo someone else. It's all about safety. You know, speed is one thing, but safety is another. Sometimes you can't achieve safety with speed. So, and remember, these edges are sharp. So all these edges are pretty sharp. So just take your time. Gradually just work it in there. You don't have to force it, just take your time. And it's a thicker wire, so you may have a little problem getting it in there. It will go though, just gotta take your time. Just like that. So once you get it in there, we establish, now you can color code it because you got red and black. You don't have to, but it makes it easier if you do it that way. So put red on this side, black on this side. Now, if you swap the red and black, you're still gonna get the same results, but it can't hurt to make the colors match. Now, typically what I'm gonna do, I start one at a time. Take off this screw completely off, because they're loops. So you're gonna take it completely off. Take this completely off. Now, once it's completely off, retrieve your screw and put your red. Now keep the flat side here. So the part that's where the crimp is, keep the crimp facing you. You don't want this part against the flat side. Now we're gonna slide this in here. Get this lined up. Just maybe move that wire around too to give me some more leverage. See how this works out. I'm gonna do this one, then we're gonna try to get the ground next, because the ground's under the neutral, so I'm gonna try to get the ground in there. These wires are kind of thick, so you just gotta kind of be patient and take your time. Okay. Now, I don't snug it up all the way, just get it so it's holding in place. Now, there's a ground screw, or green screw, or ground screw, whatever you want to call it, right where my finger is. I'm going to remove that ground screw out of there, or green screw, same thing. And this is where my ground wire is going to go. Take this and just take it out. The plate and all, so it's a little plate type washer. Take that out with the whole thing. Now what I'm gonna do is gonna put it over this like that. You can do it any way you want to, but it has to go on the ground pot, which is basically the neutral. But see how they, yeah, it's right there. They got a neutral, but if you want though, you should. I wonder if they want you to remove this brass bar though. Because you don't want to have the brass bar in the neutral. I think this is set up for a 3-wire stove. I don't think this brass bar should be on there. At least, you can leave it on or take it off. I'm gonna take it off because I just like the fact. I just like the fact that the neutral and ground is touching the same thing, even though they somehow do end up at the same location. I think if I take off this copper strap in here like that, if I take this off, I think this is the jumper just for if you had the 3-wire. So So I'm taking that off because I just don't like the way that looks. I know it could work either or, but I'd rather have it off because I don't want my my neutral feed into my ground. So God forbid if this was a return, I don't want that return feeded into that if at all possible. And it's just a jumper, but I'm taking that jumper off, and I think I'm making a better decision of taking this off and leaving it on for different reasons. Because you do have a separate ground for a separate reason. So when you have a ground, you don't need to have a ground and neutral doing the same exact thing. Now, if you didn't have a ground, you can have the neutral doing the groundwork. But because you have a ground, let's let the ground do its job. So that way we keep things simple. You're gonna be like, Nez, why didn't you leave that ground strapping on there? I think I'm taking it off for a good reason. You guys can leave comments if you think I should have left it on. You tell me. I'm gonna put this neutral right in the middle, and then we'll do the black on the end. And then we'll have our connections up here. Always make sure you get the screws straight. You don't want to cross thread them, so kind of start it lightly and work itself in. Remember, you got sharp edges, so you're not trying to overdo anything. Now, these are not snugged up yet. I'm doing it like this so I can get them all in position. And once they're all in position, I tighten everything up and get it going. All right. If I did anything wrong, let me know. Gotta get that come down just a little bit. Just a little bit. Right about there. Oh, let me do it this way. Okay, so I'm gonna snug up the black wire. That's nice and snug. Make sure the top is snug. Yep. Make sure the ground and the neutrals are snug. Okay. Okay. So now I make it simple. Keep red with red, white with white, black with black, ground on the frame. Simple enough. I took off this jumper. This jumper was all it was doing, it was jumping it from the ground to the neutral. Now, the only time you should use this when you don't have full wires, you should use this because now the neutral will be doing double duty. It'll be doing a return and it'll be doing a ground. So get that like that. Now we're gonna get this situated up here. Push this up a little bit, just so a little bit sticks through. I'll get my pliers and squeeze the bottom of this so it's kind of. Just get this to squeeze. Whoop. I have to open it up a little bit. Here we go. Like that. Just bend that piece up just a tad bit so it's facing up. And that one's facing like that. Now, got my 6-in-1, so I'm gonna flip over to the other side. And I'm gonna put a screw through. One hole is bigger than the other, so whatever hole it fits through all the way. Well, maybe it's the other side. Here we go. One hole is bigger than the other, so you don't want to make more work for yourself. You just want to take your time and you gotta readjust, that's all. Right there, I think I got it. So I'm just gonna just snug this in right now until I get the other screw in. And it's gonna to snug up. Now let's get the other one in so we know that one started. Sometimes you gotta get down to see it because you can feel it. In my situation, I could feel it, so I'm just gonna tighten it up right there. If you can't feel it, you gotta see it. And the purpose of this is to keep the wire from pulling out of the out of here. Sometimes people pull the range forward, and if it doesn't have that, and you pull it too hard, it'll pull the connectors off. Because keep in mind, these connectors are not that strong. They are strong, but not that strong. So this, we snug this one up nice and tight. So that way, when we connect the stove or the range or the oven, it has, you want to make sure it's a little bit more, because you don't want it to pull out. I mean, that's the whole purpose of this, is for it not to pull out. There we go, it's nice and snug now. One more for good measure, here we go. All right, that's nice and pinched on there. Let's push the other side a little bit more. That's pretty good too. Yeah, I think I'm satisfied with that. Yeah. As long as this can't pull out. You don't want this to pull out. That's the whole thing. Now, I could go back and put the cover on. And before you put the cover on, you just want to make sure there's no wires sticking out far enough to hit this metal. Because if this wire is sticking out far enough to hit that, then you have another problem. So kind of push this down like that, so it's not out. And same thing with this one, just push it in a little bit. So now they're in this slot, so now they're being protected. So now there's no chance of anything hitting it. It's gonna hit this first before it hits that. But if it was sticking out, it would hit this first and ground. So now that everything's all in this chamber, we're good to go. So nothing's protruding. And everything is looking tight. Everything's facing the same way. All the wires are snugged. I guess we can put the cover on. Did our final inspection. Everything looks pretty good. I don't see any major problems, any issues or anything. Later on, we'll plug it up and test it, make sure everything is working properly. Dryers and range, you gotta pay attention to how you connect these. When you hook up a dryer the same way, make sure you got everything, nothing's gonna touch, because there's a lot of metal. You don't want the neutral touching anything live, because you can have a short circuit. You don't want the ground touching anything else other than ground. So you want to keep that. I'll put this cover on. There's a little sleek that I gotta slide into. There we go, pop that into there. Get back down here and where's that little screw at? Right there we go. We'll tighten that bad boy up in there, and I think we'll be that one's in. Perfecto. One more snug. This is a thin gauge of metal, so you don't want to over tighten it because you just strip out the hole. So as soon as you feel it snug, you stop. You don't want to keep turning and then find out you have another issue going on. Try to keep it as simple as possible. Line up the hole. In my situation, I gotta lift up a little bit. I lift up the bottom. Here we go. And that's it. We successfully put in a 4-wire plug for a range. If you like it, let me know. If you don't like it, still let me know. See that? It wasn't too hard. You can do it yourself. Catch you guys in the next one.